Orlando Ty, Baby Lane Anderson was the prime suspect in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Anderson belonged to the California-based gang known as the Southside Crips. Detective Tim Brandon of the Compton Police Department filed an affidavit naming Anderson as the prime suspect. Now, in this particular video, I know there's been a lot of videos about Orlando Anderson, about Tupac Shakur's murder that's been surfacing over the years since they passed on the internet. But this one right here is pretty much about Baby Lane. It was always something about this case that arose my attention, especially about Orlando Anderson. Now, there's been videos surfacing on the internet saying that Suge had paid Orlando. Now, what was that about? It wasn't really clear. Now, we all know that Baby Lane was involved in an altercation at the Lakewood Mall between his crew and Trayvon Lane and the snatching of a chain. Now, I'm trying to find out and see if that was to pay to get the chain back, or was it for something else? So my whole thing is, why was Baby Lane there at the MGM that night? Now, I know him and his crew was there to watch a fight, but they said he didn't go to that fight. So was he planted there? Was he a patsy? Was he part of a bigger scheme? Why did they pay him that money? Did Suge Knight pay Baby Lane to testify on his behalf about the beating, or was it something else? That's what we need to figure out. Frank Alexander, he was one of Tupac's personal bodyguard and close confidants. Now, I've always kept up all his interviews online since he passed, and it's been very interesting. Frank Alexander was saying that he was getting death threats indirect from friends that was close to him. They were telling him that, look, if you testify, it's going to be all bad for you. Frank was like, for what? Well, why is it going to be all bad for him? And they continued to say, man, it's like you snitching and like you saying so much. So Reggie Wright Jr. proceeded to call him and told him, what you gonna do? You gonna show up? What you and your white wife gonna do? Y'all finna run and hide? Because it's gonna be all bad for you. Pretty much they're gonna kill him if he do testify and show up on Suge's behalf. Frank said, for what? So what's gonna happen? What you really trying to tell me? Reggie Wright was really adamant of what he was doing and that he was speaking out loud about some. So during the night of the murder, the only lines of communications that they had 4 Nextel chirps by Sprint. Now, the only people that had these Nextel chirps was Reggie White and 4 of his constituents, his other officers. Directly after the shooting occurred, Michael Moore heard this on the chirp Nextel say, we got him. And it wasn't no homeboy type of we got him. It was one of them, like a police officer type, we got him. And these Nextel chirps had just a one-on-one base type of call, so they couldn't talk in a group, because back in '96, that right there part of the phone wasn't available at the time. I found this piece of video on the internet of when they were doing their little investigation. They had called into Sprint Nextel Communications, and they had asked and talked to one of the persons over there to see if that call group talk was available at the time of the murder in 1996. And that person had communicated over to the other people to say that no, it was not available that night, that year, 1996. That can only mean one thing, that call came into Reggie Wright that night. So this is one of the cops, Michael Moore, that was working that very fatal night. And this is what he said, that was said over the radio on the Nextel Church that very night.
While I was working at 662, I heard something over the Nextels that we all carry for security, and what I heard was God.
So not only Frank Alexander was killed, also Michael Moore, the officer that you see in this documentary, was also killed. They knew too much. They spoke a lot about what was going on. Also, Gaddafi, which is Tupac's half-brother, he was also killed. He also was the one that identified Pac's killer. And I'll tell you right now, it sure wasn't Baby Lane. He said when the arm came out, because he was behind the car that was behind the Cadillac, and when the arm came out, it wasn't no skinny arm, it was a big arm. Because remember, you know, Baby Lane was skinny. So figure that Big Dre was 350 pounds, and Baby Lane was only 210 pounds. You figure who has the bigger arm, which is Dre, and Dre was sitting on the driver's side, the side that's closer to the BMW. So to get a better perspective and stay in tune with the spirit of this case, we took a trip down the South Side Crypt, which is Baby Lane's hood, to see what's going on. So we here right now. We just got the Glencoe,
Long Beach Boulevard,
Greenleaf and Long Beach Boulevard. This is South Side Crypt right here. This is where Baby Lane was from. We're trying to figure out more about him. I'm gonna shoot around his neighborhood. Going by his neighborhood gave us a sense of reality and to just focus on seeing life through his eyes. So after going by his neighborhood, it was only right that we go to the spot where he was killed on that very day on Alondra. So just we're trying to figure out, okay, like Baby Lane was shot and killed, but like, did he really kill Tupac? You know what I mean? And on top of that, like, why did his partner that went down with him, why nobody ever like interviewed him? Like, what did he know? Like, did they really have a conflict with the dudes from Pocket Hood? You know what I'm saying? And we're trying to figure that out. Like, that's something to think about. Unjizzle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're trying to gather all the information. You know, we trying to close this out too.
Yeah.
And people are wondering, man, what's up with that? Why they never interview these cats?
Exactly. And like I was saying earlier, like Kev Mack was the closest one to interview. That, you know, it's been like what, 30 years now, you know, and he was the one that was with Baby Lane the day Baby Lane got killed with the other two brothers. So this is the barber shop right here where we was getting our hair cut. It was back in '98. At the time, it was Ebony Room. And when we heard the gunshots, that's when we all ran through the front. There was a car wash over there. You be cutting hair over here? You be working over here? Okay.
Yeah. Got my card, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. You know what I mean? This is how we do it, recycling black dollars, man. We got the homie over here cutting. We gonna support. We're gonna support the cause. Yes, you know what I mean? Yeah, even the bigger homies check us. Yeah, it's all good. We checking in. So it used to be a car wash right here. Right behind Compton High. This is Compton High. They built the new Compton High. Go left. And when we came out, this is where they got shot at. And the truck ended up on the other side with Baby Lane and the two guys and his partner that was with him. This Compton Alondra right here. When we pulled up to the barber shop in Compton, it's kind of crazy because when they came out to question who we was, one of the little youngsters was Baby Lane's nephew. Happened to be Baby Lane's nephew. And I wanted to get an interview on him. But as we proceeded to go into the barber shop, he had left. That was pretty interesting right there. So the question remains, was Baby Lane part of the biggest scheme in the world to kill Tupac? Why did they never interview Michael Duro? Did Baby Lane really kill Tupac? Or was it Big Dre? Was Baby Lane involved in this LAPD corruption? Because everyone involved is dead. Frankie Alexander, Michael Moore, Yaki Gaddafi, and Baby Lane himself.